Hey everyone, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home, and today I want to talk about my favorite physical media releases of 2023. So let me just explain the video real quick and then we'll jump right into it. You may have seen my top 10 4K discs of 2023 video. That was specifically for 4K, and that was also specifically focused on sort of the audio video quality. These were great reference quality discs to show off your home theater. What today's video is a little bit different. These are just some of my favorites of the year. It's not necessarily audio and video. It's more about the movie, the packaging, the artwork, the things that went into this release, the restoration work, the special features. These are all around some of the best releases of the year on either format, 1080p Blu-ray, some of them are on 4K, but they're all just excellent releases that I would highly recommend, and they may not have made my top 10 4K list, but I wanted to highlight them because 2023 was a seriously great year for so many different labels. So I've picked 10 of my favorites. I could have picked 20 or 30. There's labels on here. Vinegar Syndrome could have had a dozen of these. Terror Vision could have been in here. Imprint and Umbrella over in Australia. Criterion, Arrow, Shout doesn't even make the list right now, I don't think. So there was so much that could have been on this list, but these are 10 of my favorites. Lots of honorable mentions, but I had to narrow it down, and these were the favorite ones I wanted to talk about. So to kick things off, I got Hellraiser, the Quartet of Torment from Arrow Video. This is the first 4 Hellraiser movies, all on 4K UHD, and it's the only reason I would have ever sold my Scarlet box set. This set is really incredible. I love the artwork on it. I bought this from Diabolic DVD. They allowed me to import it. It is from Arrow Video in the UK, but because it's a 4K disc, they're all region free, so you won't have any issues getting this in North America. As great as the Scarlet box set from Arrow was that they put out a few years ago, to upgrade these films to 4K and get this new packaging was a huge selling point for me. So I love the artwork on this. The slipcover comes up. You got a skeleton there. You got muscle and bone here. It looks great. You've got this incredible artwork front and back. And on the inside, of course, with Arrow, you've got an incredible booklet. This book is almost 200 pages long, full of essays about Hellraiser. So if you're a fan of the Hellraiser series, if you're a horror movie fan like me, and yeah, there's going to be a handful of horror movies on this list, this set is one you can't miss. Next up is another box set, but this time from Radiance Films. I interviewed the founder of Radiance Films, Fran Simeone, over on my podcast last year, and this I think was their finest release to date. It is the Cosa Nostra 3 Mafia films starring Franco Nero by Damiano Damiani. So it's an incredible box, all on Blu-ray. You got The Day of the Owl, The Case is Closed, Forget It, and How to Kill a Judge. They all have their own individual cases here with a booklet full of essays and behind the scenes information, and each one of them also includes their own artwork. So it's a great set if you want to get into some of the Italian mafia films. Franco Nero's great. I had heard great things about Damiani, and I didn't know his movies, but once I watched one of these, I was sold. So it's a great set, 3 essential Italian mafia movies, and Radiance did a great job with all of the packaging, features, and restoration work. Next up, I've got the 20th anniversary of House of a Thousand Corpses, and a lot of people were saying, oh, why isn't this 4K? I'm not too worried about that because this new Blu-ray transfer looked incredible. Doesn't really need 4K, but the artwork on this is really what sold me. It's such an incredible little box for the 20th anniversary. It opens up and has even more goodies on the inside. So you've got a booklet. Again, this all plays into why I loved these sets. This is all just pictures, behind the scenes stuff from the film. You got an awesome poster with the whole gang of characters, some art cards here, and then of course the film on Blu-ray and digital. It really looked incredible. I have no issues with this not getting a 4K because the way that they were packaged this is just awesome. All around, just an incredible piece to have in your collection, and I think by far still Rob Zombie's best film. Next up, I've got one from Umbrella Entertainment. It's a found footage horror movie that if you haven't seen, you need to go check out, but it's also an incredible Blu-ray package, and that's the film The Tunnel. It's an Australian movie. It's from 2011, so that's the one you're looking for if you want to watch this. But I love the packaging for this because it really just plays into like the whole found footage thing. I mean, it looks like a case file, you know, do not air. The back has the, you know, the bloody note. I love the way that they put this together. It, you know, says unaired, the tunnel documentary on the spine. And then with umbrella, you get a slipcover and the case here, which is great quality. You also get a booklet. A lot of these came with booklets. This one is not as long, and it's mostly photos, but there are some questions and interviews with filmmakers and people who worked on it, and then you do have some art cards as well. This one was limited to only 200 units, so I'm super happy that I have it. I do not know if it's still available at this point in time, but if it's not, the standard edition of this is still well worth owning because it's one of the best found footage movies I've ever seen. It's highly, highly underrated. Next up, I got another entry from Arrow Video, and it's their Enter the Video Store set. Charles Band's feature production company, Empire International Pictures. They were huge in the 80s. Lots of cult, horror, fantasy movies that were video store staples. And this really celebrates those films. This limited edition version includes The Dungeon Master, Dolls, Cellar Dweller, Arena, and Robot Jocks. New 2K restorations of most of the films. The Cellar Dweller has a new 1080p with additional grading and picture restoration. Special features on all of these. And a really cool box too that opens up here. And then you've got all the films in their own individual Arrow Video cases. Plus, again, it's Arrow Video. All of these have actually had a booklet. So we've got Arrow Video Magazine, a little booklet that comes with it, which just, I love like everything about it. Like Empire Screams, it just feels like a little video store catalog. And it's got just about 75 pages of essays, interviews, and behind the scenes info. So a great set if you're into the Charles Band stuff, if you're into that video store era, nostalgia. There's a little bit of horror here, a little bit of fantasy, action, adventure, a little bit of everything. So an amazing, amazing set from Arrow. The limited edition I think is gone now, but you can still get the standard edition of this set, which is a little bit smaller, doesn't include the booklet I think, but has the same artwork. So next up, going back to Australia, we got Possession from Umbrella Entertainment on 4K. This is now the definitive version of this film to own on physical media because, of course, the packaging I just showed you. Beautiful artwork, slipcover. Pop this guy open. There's your 4K. You've got some great art cards as always. And this book is a really great read if you want to get into Possession. Now, typically, these booklets will have a collection of essays and different things. This is a 120-page book, all written by Allison Taylor, just about this film. So it's a complete companion piece to Possession that just does a deep dive from Allison Taylor's perspective. And that's something I would love to do someday. So I'm very jealous of Allison Taylor for getting her entire book in this set, but reading excerpts from it, it's really well done. And if you want to take a deep dive into the movie, it's well worth a read. And this has a great 4K restoration and transfer, and just, you know, everything about it. It's going to look great on a shelf. That's what Umbrella has been doing so great lately. They really are catering towards collectors. That one was also limited. Don't know if it's still available, but if it's not, you'll still be able to at least get their standard edition. So this next one, if anybody ever tells you that 4K or physical media is dying, especially 4K, all you gotta do is point to this, because the fact that this set exists means that 4K has quite the market. And this is the Toxic Avenger collection from Troma. Lloyd Kaufman, he worked on these 4K restorations. He fully restored all 4 Toxic Avenger films in 4K. They all have their own individual packaging. I do wish the case was a little bit more solid. It's a little bit flimsy cardboard, but you do get all 4 of the films in beautiful 4K UHD. So if you're going to tell me that 4K is dying, if Troma can put this out and spend the money on a 4K restoration and make money on physical media selling the Toxic Avenger, which, yeah, granted, it is probably their most well-known film, but it's definitely not a mainstream title that would sell a bunch, but there's clearly still a market for this stuff, and it's incredible that we got these. So just a couple more, but here's the only Criterion collection on the list. Could have been a lot of these, but had to pick Freaks, Todd Browning's film. This is not only Freaks, but it's also The Unknown and The Mystic. So it's a Todd Browning sideshow shocker triple feature. Freaks had been a movie that had been on my most wanted list for any sort of high definition format for years. It only had a DVD release. It had never been restored. They fully restored it here for the Criterion Collection Blu-ray release. But the other super cool thing is they included these other two kind of like sideshow movies that go along with Freaks that also had been kind of not widely available. So this is a full like Todd Browning set with full restorations, new scores. They worked with the George Eastman Museum. There's audio commentaries. There's a documentary. There's episodes from podcasts on here. There's, prologues and programs and alternate endings and video galleries. I mean, it's everything you could want from Todd Browning and Freaks. And I'm so happy that Criterion did it. I remember emailing Criterion years ago saying, if you guys put out Freaks, you're going to sell a lot of copies. And I remember they got back to me with kind of like a, hey, stay tuned. We'll see what happens. Like, it definitely wasn't a no. And so I'm glad that they finally did it. And it's an incredible set of movies with really, really great restoration work and a super important release. Now I'm going to head back to Australia for this one. This is not Umbrella. This is Imprint Films. And this is their Directed by Walter Hill box set. This includes Hard Times, The Driver, The Long Riders, Extreme Prejudice, Johnny Handsome, and Broken Trail. Now this really is an incredible set if you want to dive into Walter Hill's filmography, which, to be fair, I had basically no knowledge of. I knew of Extreme Prejudice because it was in the Vestron video line, but I did not know his stuff. And it's got great artwork all the way around, very thick box set. And the cool thing is, the cover pops off just like that, and you get all the movies individually cased. Now, most of them are Blu-ray, and they all have their own artwork, like Hard Times, but they also included here the 4K release of The Driver. So you do get that in 4K. The rest of them are on Blu-ray, but they all have great artwork on them. They're all in their own individual cases. It's a really solid set. My buddy Heath over at Serial at Midnight is really the first person I think who ever explained or told me about Walter Hill, like just a director I had missed, hadn't seen any of his movies. This is a great way to get into his stuff if you want to pick this one up from Imprint, and including that 4K release of The Driver was really nice. All right, so we got two left. I'm going to go first here with Paramount Scares Volume 1. Now, here's why I love this set. Yes, a lot of the movies had already come out in 4K, but this set allows you to get sort of this collector edition, right, with awesome artwork on it. Really cool box set, Arrow Video, type quality. So you consolidate a little bit. You do get a bonus movie. It ended up being Sweeney Todd, which made its 4K debut here in this set. But it also came loaded with features, and it definitely points to a shift in strategy by some of the major labels like Paramount to cater towards collectors. First up, you have an exclusive Fangoria magazine edition, which has an essay on each of the films, one of which is new, the others were pulled from old essays. All of them have their own slipcover with unique artwork, and then the kind of like theatrical art on the inside. So this was Rosemary's Baby. It also came with a sticker pack for each of the films. It came with a pin to celebrate Paramount Scares, which is kind of their new horror label. And it was an extremely fair price. 6 4K movies, those bonus extras like Fangoria, it was selling for like $80. So you're talking about, let me do the math in my head real quick, $12, $13 per disc for 4K in that packaging too with Fangoria. Like, that's all worth something as well. So it was a really fair price, and it just shows that, we look at a lot of the releases that I've talked about here. Only one, The House of a Thousand Corpses from Lionsgate, who also understands collectors right now, that's the only one from a mainstream studio. The rest of these are all boutique labels because they get it. They understand collectors. But with Lionsgate doing things like this and all their steelbooks, Paramount doing Paramount Scares, Columbia Classics, they're starting to shift the way that the major labels release things, and it's cool to see. And finally, last but certainly not least, maybe my favorite box set of the year. It's from Vinegar Syndrome. It's The Lost Picture Show. I could talk about this for a very, very long time, but I already have an entire video breaking it down. So if you want more information on like the films and what this project was all about, check out my dedicated video. But what I can tell you is this includes 10 essentially lost films that had never been out on any significant format. It has incredible packaging, double-sided, opens up to this whole like newspaper clippings. It has the cases on each side, 5 movies in a set. On each side there's, you know, Las Vegas Strangler, an early slasher. There's Rare Blue Apes, an insane kids movie. There's Red Midnight, which is a nuclear apocalypse like scare film. There's, you know, romance in here. There's kind of like smut films and adult film. I mean, it's a crazy eclectic collection of films, but 10 in here, which without Vinegar Syndrome, their team, archivists across the world, restoration teams across the world who all came together to work on this doesn't exist. So it's my favorite of the year because of that, because like physical media made this happen. Like they can fund projects like this by selling cool releases like this, and it helps to fund restoration work and archiving of films and making sure that these films were not lost to time, because they easily could have sat in a canister in somebody's basement or a grandmother's attic or in a warehouse somewhere and just degraded to the point that you couldn't see them anymore. And yes, the quality on some of these rough, of course it is, but like how about just the fact that we can even get them on an HD format? So 10 movies on Blu-ray and an extremely fair price from Vinegar Syndrome. I've seen it go for like $80 to $100, somewhere in there. I think it was selling for like $80 at pre-order or even $70. An extremely fair price for all the work they put into it. And it's beautiful artwork, a beautiful set. I love displaying it on my shelf. So that's the list. Those are my 10 favorites from this year, 2023. And I know I'm a couple weeks in. Life's been crazy, okay? We got kids sick, we got people sick, I got house stuff going on. I started a new job a month ago in December. Life, the holidays, I mean, forget it. It's been crazy. So I know this is a little bit late, but this is a great recap of 2023 that hopefully will allow you to find some possibly new stuff that you're interested in, and just also highlights great labels like Imprint and Umbrella, like Arrow, like Vinegar Syndrome, like Radiance films, you know, and like I said, Terror Vision had a great year. I have an essay coming up in one of their booklets for Dante's Inferno Blu-ray that's coming out in 2024, so I'm very excited for that. Shout Factory, Scream Factory had a great year. They put out Clue, they put out Point Break, they put out some really cool stuff. The Child's Play set on 4K, I mean, they had a great year. Criterion, they were in here, they also had a great year. It's a great time to be collecting. You can tell just by the eclectic list here of, you know, action films, horror, cult stuff, mafia films, lost films, found footage. I mean, you name it. It was a great year for all different genres for physical media. Great packaging, all catered to collectors, and I can't wait to see what 2024 brings. So if you do want to buy any of these, there'll be links in the description, a full purchase list where you can get them. If you want the Vinegar Syndrome one, you got to go to their site, but if you sign up with my like rewards code, I think you get $5 off your first order, so that'll help you take a few bucks off if you want to pick up Lost Picture Show. But yeah, just a great year. Thank you to all these labels for doing great work. Thank you to everybody who's watched my videos. Thank you to everybody who has supported me in all the content creation. It's been tough lately with all the changes happening in life, and obviously I do this part-time, so thank you all for sticking with me. And I've got this video, I've got a couple more that I filmed that I just need to edit and put out. There's gonna be more content coming to YouTube. Now on the other side, there's a lot of content on my Instagram and TikTok pages as well. So if you wanna join me over there, that's a great place to get quick snippets of me just talking for 90 seconds about a movie or making a little recommendation list, some photos, things like that. It's very quick content that I've been able to churn out more during busy times, but I'm obviously still going to do this longer form stuff because I love it and I enjoy it too. So thank you all for watching. Make sure you follow me on all the social media platforms. Make sure you're subscribed here if you want more content like this. And of course, check out all of these great labels and make sure you subscribe to their email lists and check out their websites so that you get the notices, because this stuff can sometimes go quick. So you got to be in the community, you got to be involved, you got to be on the email lists, on the social media accounts. Make sure you don't miss any of this stuff. But it's a great list of 10 if you wanted to start with. It's an expensive list of 10 for sure, but if you wanted to start with 10 great sets to kick off 2024, these were my favorites from last year. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy out there, and I'll talk to you all soon.